Why am I doing a daily podcast? And is it a good idea to do it? Well, that is a question I've been asked, so I'm making a podcast episode on it. Hello, I'm Olivia de Sousa. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I'm a content and podcast expert. I support visionary entrepreneurs and leaders passionate about living with purpose. Join me as we explore podcasting, life, business, and authenticity. Subscribe for meaningful conversations with a business buddy who gets what it's like. Welcome to Magnetic Pod. I'm stepping in the next level me. All right, a few people have asked me why have I decided to do a daily podcast. So, of course, I'm doing a podcast episode. So I'm going to go through why I have decided to do that. First of all, it's been an idea that's been rattling around in the back of my mind since towards the end of last year, 2023. And I just had a lot going on. I was kind of scared to take the plunge and commit. And with Christmas coming up and all of those things, I just thought, not the right time yet. So I didn't, but it kept being around in the back of my head. And but what ended up happening is that over the Christmas break, and more than the Christmas break, really the more significant part is school holidays. That is a time, I don't know about you, I know it's not just me because I have heard other people say it, but if you're a woman in business who's, got kids at school age, it can be a really tricky time to manage, even with holiday programs and stuff. Sometimes your kids like it, sometimes they don't, sometimes you have that conflicting feeling. I think there's a quote somewhere about women, and it shouldn't be exclusive to women, but here we are, feeling this conflict between wanting to work as well as a full-time person without kids at work, or being expected to, while also being expected to be a full-time mum as well, and do both, a full-time stay-at-home mum as well, and somehow pull it all off and do both simultaneously, which is, of course, which is impossible. But I feel that more than ever during school holidays. And so it's a time where the one thing I love about that time is that I really do feel that sense of reflecting on where I'm at and what I want to do and goals for the new year, even though you could pick a point. The fact that we have a calendar the way we have is arbitrary, and really, if you want to make a change, you should go ahead and do it any time of the year. But I do feel that there's something in the energy, there's something that I feel that I like, that I actually like, that is kind of positive and hopeful about that time of year where I do that. And so I had that thought in my head about doing it, and also I took quite a break from creating new content and creating podcasts and stuff, because I was with my kids and I was doing what I needed to keep the customers' work happening, and just trying to keep those balls in the air and trying to be as present as I possibly could be with the kids. But you can't keep all the balls in the air, so I didn't create new content in that time. And so when it came time to start, which is basically February, which is such a huge break, isn't it? But when the kids go back in February, it feels like the beginning of the year, even though a whole month has gone. And yeah, it is the beginning of the school year, and therefore also feels like the beginning of the work year. And so I'm like, I want to hit the ground running. And that idea of having a daily podcast was still there. And, maybe when we get these nudges, we got to give it a go. So I've decided, and the other part of it was that because I'd had the break, that doing a week, one podcast a week felt really slow. It felt like a lack of momentum, because I want to share lots of different parts of myself. I want to share content that is educational and, tips about podcasting or whatever I share in my life that might be useful. But I also want to share more about me and what I believe in, and be varied. The idea of only sharing how-to content just seems really boring to me, like just one-dimensional. And I'm a whole ass person, and so are you, and so are, some of the people that I help. And so, and I know when I listen to podcasts, I don't want to just always listen to how to do this thing. There will be some that do get my attention because it's a particular thing I want to learn about, and there's definitely reasons to do podcasts like that. But if I want to stay and stick around and listen to them, I like to listen to people that I like and that I know something about, and that I might know a bit about what's going on in their life, not the whole story, not whatever's not appropriate or too much to share, but, I want to get to know a whole person, a personality. And I felt like doing one a week would be too slow, especially on the back of having had a break. So it's almost like I'm trying to a little bit of it is making up for having a break. Okay, I had a break. Now I'm going to go the other end and do a daily podcast. I only do 5 days a week, not 7 days a week, because I don't see the need to do 7 days a week. And even though I batch record where I can, I still giving myself a break on not having to have things for Saturday and Sunday. What else? And also because another focus I want to do this year, and if you have a podcast, listen up, is that I want to do more podcast guesting, and I want to do podcast swaps. I want to use my podcast as a networking tool as well, and as a tool to platform to be able to speak to interesting people. And there's so much I want to know about in the world. And so I have this platform and I can invite people in and share. So it's given me more space to have more interviews. So that's one thing I want to have, but I also want to use it for podcast swaps. So if you've got a podcast and you'd like to have me on the show and you'd like to be on my podcast, drop me a line. All my contact details are in the show notes. I'm pretty easy to find. Google me. And so have I missed anything? I guess the other part of it is personal development, because I wanted to do something scary. I was scared to do it. It was like a public thing that people will know if I fail. And already, like this week, my daughter was in hospital and she's okay now. Don't worry about her. She's fine. But unfortunately, she has asthma, and sometimes, things happen and throw a spanner in the works. So I was going to batch record and that all turned to poop. But the idea of going, okay, I can do this. I can stick with something and see it through. And it's a personal development thing I'm going to feel pretty good about myself. And I'm only committing to this first school term, which also gives me permission to have a break during school terms. So that's another part of it. So, and will I continue into term 2? I do not know. Watch this space. I will let you know. I will see how I go after one term and see if it's something I want to keep going at the same level or not. This way I have a commitment with an end date, and maybe it would feel harder if it was just open-ended. Maybe because I have an end date, it feels like, okay, I can do this. Okay, that's all I can think of as the reasons. If I think of anything else, I guess it's going to have to go in a new podcast episode. If you've got any questions for me, please let me know. Let me know your thoughts. You can write a comment if you're watching this on YouTube, or you can contact me via Instagram, Livy Music Media, LIVVI Music Media. And please rate, review, subscribe. If you like any of these episodes, please share it in your Instagram stories or LinkedIn or whatever your platform is, and tag me, and I will be so grateful and send you all of the positive vibes. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. I'm stepping in the next level me. I'm here to be everything I can be. Like a snake, I'm shedding my skin to be my wild next level me. I'm stepping in the next level me. I'm here to be everything I can be. Give you whiplash when you turn around and see me go again. Next level me. It's time to be. Hello, it's Livy here. Have you ever wondered about what the key elements are that make a podcast truly stand out? Or maybe you're thinking about starting your own special podcast and feel a bit overwhelmed and don't know where to start. Well, I have something for you. Introducing the ultimate podcast checklist. Da, 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 da. It's a step-by-step guide that covers everything from the initial brainstorming to advanced growth strategies. It's the perfect companion for both new and seasoned podcasters. And the best part, it's absolutely free. Da, 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 da. To grab your copy, simply head to the show notes of this episode and you will find a direct link there, and then away you go. Remember, every podcast started with that initial spark and the right resource, so let the ultimate podcasting checklist be yours.